Think your job sucks? Trust me, it doesn't. History was a master at turning earning a living into a literal punishment. These are careers that make your 9 to 5 look like a paid vacation. Let's begin. The Groom of the Stool. Imagine landing a job in the royal palace. You've got a fancy title, you're eating the best food, and you're basically King Henry VIII's right-hand man. There's just one tiny detail in the contract. You are the groom of the stool. And no, that's not about furniture. Your entire professional life revolves around the king's digestive system. When the king felt the call of nature, you were the guy who followed him into the bathroom. You helped him undress, sat with him while he did his business, and handled the final cleanup with a sponge on a stick. The wild part? This was the most wanted job in England. You were the only person who had the king's ear for 30 minutes a day while he was busy. You were his therapist and his gatekeeper. People would bribe you with fortunes just to mention their name while the king was on the throne. You're rich and powerful, but you're also the guy with the sponge. No amount of political influence is worth that much paperwork. The Resurrectionist. In the 18th century, if you were a night owl who didn't mind getting your hands dirty, you might have found work as a resurrectionist. Sounds like a cool video game class, but you're actually just a professional grave robber. Back then, medical schools were booming, but the law only allowed them to dissect executed criminals. There weren't enough bodies to go around, so body snatchers filled the gap. You'd wait for a fresh burial, wait for the sun to go down, and head to the cemetery with a shovel. You had to be fast, quiet, and really good at not being haunted. If the town caught you, they wouldn't call the cops, they'd bring the pitchforks. You'd haul a human being out of the ground, throw them in a cart, and deliver them to a doctor's basement for a few silver coins. It's dark, it's illegal, and your office is a cold, muddy hole in the ground. Suddenly, data entry doesn't seem so bad. The Pure Finder. Victorian London was the height of the Industrial Revolution, but the streets were covered in dog poop. To you, that's a reason to call the city council. To a pure finder, that's a paycheck. They called it pure because the chemicals in dog dung were the only thing that could make high-end leather soft enough for gloves and shoes. There was a whole economy of people walking the alleys with a bucket and a black glove, looking for inventory. These people would roam all day, competing for the best spots to collect the pure and sell it to tanneries by the bucket. Think about that next time you see a cool pair of leather boots. Someone had to spend 10 hours a day in the London fog, scooping up what a stray left behind, just so some aristocrat could have nice gloves. That's a level of grind culture we're lucky to leave behind. The knocker-up. Before alarm clocks were affordable, people still had to get to the factory by 6 a.m. If you slept in, you lost your job. So you hired a knocker-up. Your job was to be a human alarm clock. You'd carry a long bamboo pole or a pea shooter and go from house to house in the dark. You didn't just knock once, you had to bang on their window or shoot dried peas at the glass until the client physically showed their face to prove they were awake. Imagine doing this in the freezing rain at 4 a.m. for hundreds of people who all hate you because you're the guy ending their sleep. The pay was tiny. Plus, you've got the ultimate paradox. How do you wake up? Do you hire another knocker-up to knock on your window? It's just a never-ending cycle of tired people poking windows at dawn. The fuller. In ancient Rome, if you wanted to look sharp in your toga, you needed a fuller. But Romans didn't have detergent. They had something else, human urine. Because of the ammonia, urine was a powerful cleaning agent. The government even put giant jars on street corners for people to contribute to the supply. As a fuller, your day consisted of standing in a giant vat filled with this recycled liquid and dirty wool. You'd spend the entire day, hours upon hours, stomping on the cloth like you're crushing grapes for wine. Except it isn't wine, it's aged, stinky pee. You're absorbing it through your skin, the fumes are hitting your face, and you're doing this in the hot Italian sun. You'd go home smelling so bad your own family probably made you sleep in the stable. But hey, at least the togas came out white.
Next time your computer freezes or your boss asks you to stay late on a Friday, just take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you aren't standing in a vat of Roman urine and you aren't following a king into the bathroom with a sponge. We've actually got it pretty good. If you enjoyed this trip through history, hit that like button and subscribe. It's way easier than being a resurrectionist. Let me know in the comments which of these jobs you'd choose if you absolutely had to. Personally, I'm staying right here. Stay chill.